actually. I had an aunt who was very fond of fur.
Well, there, that explains everything.
We're all easily explicable. What we're not is easily extricable.
Extricable from...
What we are, what the world has made us. And the thing that fixes us only takes an instant. The overturning of a dragonfly's wings, to quote one of the Greeks. One innocent instant, and you are different. Forever. How's the coffee?
I've hardly tasted it, but it's excellent so far.
And that's symbolic, right? I mean, like, he's the coffee. She's only had a sip, but he's got her, like, all intrigued.
Oh, shucks, you saw right through me.
Did you have an innocent instant, Captain Shemsky?
I did, actually. Very early on. But this is of no interest to you.
No, I'm enthralled. It's like one of those English mystery stories. I await the mysterious aunt who was fond of fur.
I really can't skip it for this next.
Read it. I await the mysterious aunt who was fond of fur.
I was an impossible child. Sickly as an infant and spoiled by my parents. I spent my childhood reading in the library and tormenting the servants and our cat. Then, when I was 12, an aunt of mine came for a visit. The Countess was a regal woman, voluptuous, imperious, and terrifying. She... Huh.
What?
Nothing. You know, it just kind of feels different saying the words out loud. It's not like tapping the words onto a screen at 2:02 a.m.
You're doing fine, you're doing good. Your aunt's come for a visit, and she is... what?
A regal woman. Voluptuous, imperious, and terrifying. She refused in 1,000 ways to indulge my moods, and I took against her for her majestic disdain. I needled her rudely, I insulted her, I called her Mesalina. Well, one day, she took her revenge. On that day, my parents were off, and my aunt comes striding into the library. She's wearing an enormous black fox fur, and on her head, a diamond tiara, and in her hand, a length of fresh green birch. The cook and the scullery maid follow close behind. My aunt throws off her fur and rolls up her sleeves, revealing sleekly muscled arms. I try to escape, but the other two women grab me, overwhelm me. They throw me down into the fur and they pull down my trousers. I try to be heroic, but those two women hold me hand and foot as my aunt lays into me with the cane. The birch whistles in the air again and again as the blows descend. The backs of my legs and my naked backside are on fire. Each lash is like acid eating into a copper etching plate. Each stroke laid on by a true artist. Meanwhile, the servant women urge her on and mock me. They call me a little girl and laugh at my tears. I struggle, but it's no use. My aunt is whipping me until I'm weeping and sobbing outright, begging her for mercy. And she's done. She makes me kneel and thank her for punishing me. Makes me kiss the very rock with which she chastised me. Then, threatening to return for more, she takes her leave. All of this witnessed by the two laughing servants and our cat. From that day on, a fur could not be just a fur, nor a length of birch and innocent switch. For you see, in that moment, in that room, by that woman, I was made.
And did she return?
You might say she did. For every night thereafter, my aunt visited me in my dreams, wearing a black fox fur and carrying a length of birch to continue her punishment. Every night she visits me still. An exquisite despot.
Oh, man.
Am I? In a way, I couldn't be richer having learned all that I learned, having been taught at her feet.
Well, what have you learned?
That there can be nothing more sensuous than pain, and nothing more pleasurable than degradation. The Countess aunt had become my ideal, you see. Ideal woman, ideal mate, an avatar for the goddess of love herself. I've been On the hunt for her double ever since, and for a woman of her delicious cruelty. And on the day I meet that woman, I shall marry her.
Thomas, that speech, it's brilliant.
Thank you. I certainly spent enough time on it.
So, actually, this play is all about, like, child abuse.
No, this play is not all about child abuse. Jesus Christ! Is he not encouraged to make everything some trivial social issue?
Well, child abuse isn't exactly trivial.
Okay, no, it's not trivial, but you are being trite. Let's not be trite, all right? There's a lot more going on here than corporal punishment issues. This isn't anthropology or sociology. This is a play.
Yeah, but I got...
Don't generalize, okay? There's a lot more going on here than child abuse.
Okay, sorry.
The stupid impoverished world that we live in. Why are we so eager to diminish ourselves? Why do we want to reduce ourselves to examples of something, as if you're nothing more than proof of Freud or whatever dime store psychology is in People magazine this week? What are you going to throw me next? Race, class, gender?
You ought to write all that up and send it into the Times.
Well, I did! They didn't print it. Anyway.
Well, you certainly are unique, Herr Severin von Kruszewski. But I'd be careful if I were you. When you obtain your ideals, you may be crueler than you care for.
I'm willing to take the risk. In any case, there you have it. Whatever that makes me.
I know what you are. You're a super sensualist and a second voluptuary.
And you, Frau von der Vandenaya, who or what are you?
I'm a pagan. I'm a Greek. I love the ancients, not for their pediments or their poetry, but because in their world, Venus could love Paris one day and Anchises the next. Because they're not the moderns who live in their minds, and because they're the opposite of the Christians who live on a cross. I don't live in my mind or on a cross. I live on this divan, in this dress, in these stockings and these shoes. I want to live the way Helen and Aspasia live, not the twisted women of today who are never happy and never give happiness, who won't admit that they want love without limit. Why should I forego any possible pleasure, abstain from any sensual experience? I'm young, I'm rich, and I'm youthful, and I shall make the most of that. I shall deny myself nothing.
I certainly respect your devotion to principle.
I don't need your respect, excuse me. I'll take happiness. My happiness, not society's. I will love a man who pleases me, and please a man who makes me happy, but only as long as he makes me happy, not a moment longer.
To a man, there's nothing crueler than a woman's infidelity.
To a woman, there is. The enforced fidelity of men. Can I move around?
Yes, please.
A man always wants a woman who's sensual, but not one who's sensual with any other man. You want us to provide pleasure. How can we without honing the necessary skills?
Fine argument for promiscuity.
A fine argument for integrity. In our society, a woman's only power is through men. Her character is her lack of character. She's a blank to be filled in by creatures who would half despise her. I want to see what a woman will be when she's man's equal in education and his partner in work. When she becomes herself, an individual.
God, Urbana is seriously ahead of her time, isn't she?
Well, Leopold von Sacher-Masoch was... Wanda, how did you learn all of those lines?
I don't know, I'm a pretty quick study.
A quick study, flipping through it on the train. You know it off by heart.
But hey, you said Vonda's proper in spite of her, what was it, professed something?
Professed principles.
Right, so you don't think she believes all this?
Well, she certainly says she does. Women's rights, yada, yada, yada.
But you think she's just putting on a show, like she's lying? You know, I was just wondering why you said professed principles instead of just, like, principles.
Must have been all those beautiful peas.
Sold your soul for a mess of peas, huh?
Guilty.
Secretly, Thomas, you are evil.
Guilty.
In our society, a woman's only power is through men, yada yada. I want to see what woman will be when she is man's equal in education and his partner in work, when she becomes herself, an individual.
You only say that because you yourself are so individual.
A man usually says that to a woman whose individuality he is about to undermine.
If you don't mind my saying so, you are not only a Greek, and a pagan, and an individual. You seem to me to be a goddess.
Really? Which one?
Venus.
And Wanda really is Venus, right? Am I crazy? She's like Venus in disguise, come down to get him, to like torture him.
Well, not really. I mean, there's a lot of angles you could look at it from.
I won't ask. You probably wanted it to be like ambivalent.
Ambiguous.
Right.
Actually, it's the exact same story as the Bacchae, isn't it?
Yeah! What's the Bacchae? No, I'm just kidding. It's an old play, right?
It's an old play.
Citizens of Corinth, one of those plays. Behold this mortal man testiculous, cursed for his offenses to the gods, and totally fucked for all eternity.
Yes, it's one of those plays. The god Dionysus descends down to earth and reduces Pentheus, the king of Thebes, to a quivering mass of feminine jelly in a dress.
Sounds hot.
The crazy women of Thebes, the Bacchae, tear Pentheus to pieces, and Dionysus returns to heaven, triumphant.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that one.
Except here, it's not Dionysus, it's Aphrodite.
Right. Remind me?
Aphrodite is the Greek version of Venus.
The same person.
The same